Are you my biggest fan?
Yeah, I am your biggest fan. Certainly your most loyal and most consistent fan. That's very sweet. This is April 11th, 2020. We're consulting the I Ching, my wise Chinese uncle, whose opinions I highly respect. I have to go into the archives. I have everything here. New and Improved Home, May 11th, 2019. Actually, April 15th, we're asking about moving. Oh, that's where we got the arousing shock, thunder. Shock brings success. Shock comes. Uh-oh. Laughing words. Ha ha. The shock terrifies for 100 miles. The shock that comes from the manifestation of God within the depths of the earth makes man afraid. But this fear of God is good, for joy and merriment can follow upon it. When a man has learned within his heart what fear and trembling mean, he is safeguarded against any terror produced by outside influences. Let the thunder roll and spread terror 100 miles around. He remains so composed and reverent in spirit that the sacrificial rite is not interrupted. This is the spirit that must animate leaders and rulers of men, a profound inner seriousness from which all outer terrors glance off harmlessly. How apropos. The image, thunder repeated, the image of shock. Thus in fear and trembling, the superior man sets his life in order and examines himself. So that was last year. What next? Okay. Hexagram 33. Retreat. The power of the dark is ascending. The light retreats to security so that the dark cannot encroach upon it. This retreat is a matter not of man's will, but of natural law. Therefore, in this case, withdrawal is proper. It is the correct way to behave in order not to exhaust one's forces. The idea expressed by this hexagram is similar to that in the saying of Jesus, "But I say unto you that ye resist not evil." The judgment, retreat, success. In what is small, perseverance furthers. Conditions are such that the hostile forces favored by the time are advancing. In this case, retreat is the right course, and it is through retreat that success is achieved. But success consists in being able to carry out the retreat correctly. Retreat is not to be confused with flight. Flight means saving oneself under any circumstances, whereas retreat is a sign of strength. We must be careful not to miss the right moment while we are in full possession of power and position. Then we shall be able to interpret the signs of the time before it is too late, and to prepare for provisional retreat instead of being drawn into a desperate life and death struggle. Thus, we do not simply abandon the field to the opponent. We make it difficult for him to advance by showing perseverance in single acts of resistance. In this way, we prepare while retreating for the counter-movement. Understanding the laws of a constructive retreat of this sort is not easy. The meaning that lies hidden in such a time is important. He retreats into his own thoughts as the inferior man comes forward. He does not hate him, for hatred is a form of subjective involvement by which we are bound to the hated object. The superior man shows strength, heaven, in that he brings the inferior man to a standstill mountain by his dignified reserve. So there. And that hexagram changes to standstill or stagnation. This hexagram is the opposite of the preceding one. Heaven is above, drawing further and further away, while the earth below sinks into the depths. It is a time of standstill and decline. The judgment stands still. Evil people do not further the perseverance of the superior man. The great departs, the small approaches. Heaven and earth are out of communion, and all things are benumbed. What is above has no relation to what is below, and on earth confusion and disorder prevail. The dark power is within, the light power is without. Weakness is within, harshness without. Within are the inferior, and without are the superior. The way of inferior people is in ascent. The way of superior people is on the decline. But the superior people do not allow themselves to be turned from their principles. If the possibility of exerting influence is closed to them, they nevertheless remain faithful to their principles and withdraw into seclusion. The image. Heaven and earth do not unite, the image of standstill. Thus the superior man falls back upon his inner worth in order to escape the difficulties. These two hexagrams together are a pretty accurate description of how we, current situation we find ourselves in, the dynamics of it. You know, we're here in this place now, but we can't remain here. A halt or retreat is, we know we need to get out of here. There's currently a pandemic raging outside our gates. We can't leave. We're trapped here for the time being. And then that hexagram changes to standstill, stagnation, which is a perfect description of the impasse we are.